of course.
Thank goodness this is over, right, Lawrence? I mean, if you stayed up to watch, which I have every single night, and you wake up early, I know you because you've been there covering it and interviewing people all day long before the convention at night and working the morning show. But they're all just scripted reads. You know, they're just reading from the teleprompter. Yeah, they're powerful speeches, but it's just telling their story. And then, here we go, slamming President Trump. The whole convention was slamming President Trump. It was more about, we hate him so much, we hope you hate him more than you hate our radical record.
Yeah, we're going to go through the record a little later on in the program. But, guys, I know there's been some people that say that it was a great speech. This was great for Kamala, but I don't think so. Especially when you set the bar so high for two of the most popular people in the Democratic Party, in Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, get this speech, you know, reach that metric of inspiration. I don't think so. And I guess the part that I just cannot disconnect from this convention, and I understand spin. Both political parties, they do spin. They try to, you know, push things in their favor. But there are just blatant lies that the Democratic Party is putting out there to the American people, to depress the vote, to change the vote, that I think needs to be called out. And I just wish more people in the media would call out the consistent lies from this party, guys.
Right. You're not criticizing Will Cain, are you?
No, not Will.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
I appreciate that, because I was wondering, too. I was like, Lawrence is coming in hot.
Really hot on Will.
No, but Lawrence is right, and I think we began that process yesterday. We had Donald Trump on Fox and Friends. We asked him because Tim Walz began the story of, just as an example, saying Donald Trump wanted to institute a national abortion ban. I believe his exact words are, he wanted to enact a national abortion ban with or without Congress. And that is the exact same line, word for word, that was repeated last night from the stage by Kamala Harris.
You can always trust me to put country above party and self, to hold sacred America's fundamental principles, from the rule of law to free and fair elections. We know what a second Trump term would look like. It's all laid out in Project 2025, written by his closest advisors, and its sum total is to pull our country back to the past. We are not going back to when Donald Trump tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. As a part of his agenda, he and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. So the thing is that Donald Trump has done a lot over 4 years. He's been running for president 3 times now, and he talks almost every day to any outlet, including small local outlets. Why make things up? Why say that Donald Trump's looking to jail his opponents? It's actually what you guys are trying to do. Why come out and say he's going to use the National Guard on his own citizens? He offered the National Guard during total civil unrest during the George Floyd riots and some other opportunities. So why make stuff up about Project 2025? I have news for you. If people work for you and go get another job, it doesn't mean they're still working for you. Yes, there are some people at the Heritage Foundation, I think it's the biggest think tank in Washington, that leave Republican administrations and go work there. It doesn't mean they're still working for Donald Trump. Listen.
They know I have nothing to do with it. I had no idea what it was. A group of people got together. They drew up some conservative values, very conservative values, and in some case, perhaps they went over the line, perhaps they didn't. I have no idea what Project 25 is. I'm for exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I'm for exceptions. Most people are for exceptions. You have to follow your heart. But it's being voted on, and an issue that's ripped our country apart for 50 years is being solved at the voting booth, and states are voting in what they want. They say in the convention, I want a federal ban. I would never, and they know I've said it, there will not be a federal ban.
This has been fact-checked. This is a lie. This is a hoax. But it's a lie over and over that is being
They're not
repeated.
stopping.
They do not care about the fact check. By the way, the Donald Trump campaign for president has also laid out his policy on Social Security and Medicare. We have seen his actual policies. We do not know, outside of some increases in capital gains tax, for example, or price controls, what Kamala's actual policies might be to, I guess, fix the economy she's been in charge of, at least in a partnership for the past 3.5 years. But here's Trump. Fight and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including changes to the retirement age.
That's from his website. Even though the Democrats are on stage saying he wants to cut it, he wants to cut your Medicare, he wants to cut your Social Security. No, in fact, he's saying the check that you get from Social Security that you've already paid into and you've already been taxed for once, I'm not going to tax you on that. No tax on tips and no tax on Social Security. And it's interesting to hear all of the media afterwards just praising the DNC and praising Kamala Harris when they wanted to replace her a few months ago. Remember the media headlines? New York Times said the vice president is still struggling to make the case for herself. They also reported tensions between the White House and her office. Her staff members were saying the environment in her office was dysfunctional and abusive. But you're not hearing that this morning.
Elizabeth Warren, Lawrence, I'll let you weigh in. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Brian. I guess what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
Have they learned nothing?
Yep.
Have they learned nothing from the scandal with Joe Biden and concealing his mental decline for all of these years, all the stories that they got on background from cabinet members, people that were in the room with him, and then it blows up in your face? What's going to happen with her? Does it take another debate for it to blow up again when she can't deliver a back and forth on policy? She couldn't even handle the pro-Hamas crowd. She couldn't even stand on the position there. All she could say is, I'm speaking. I'm sorry, that's not a spirited conversation. She could have said, hey, I stand with Israel in this moment. But instead she says, I'm speaking. Is that what she's going to do when she's on the debate stage with Donald Trump and he challenges her on some of her positions or say, Madam Vice President, you keep saying that I want to end Medicare. That's not true. And I've said this and this and this. And why did you steal my idea on no tax on tips? I mean, I just don't understand why they keep letting her get away with it.
Yeah, we'll see, because it's only been one voice, her voice, and the Democratic voice. The honeymoon's over starting today. It's because we have 74 days left. And just to build on your point, Elizabeth Warren basically called for a replacement. You got to have a replacement. And then Nancy Pelosi, when asked, he goes, do you think that she's a good running mate for Joe Biden? Anderson Cooper asked, he goes, he thinks so. Really?
And then she pushed
Jamie Raskin said the same thing, couldn't even endorse her. And then Andrea Mitchell basically came out there, who's an icon on the MSNBC platform. So this is we know that Joe Biden's failing. You won't admit it. That's why you kicked him out. And we know you were not for Kamala Harris 3 weeks ago, and you won't admit it. But Trump also says something else. He also says, do you realize you actually have the job now?
Well, the biggest reaction is, why didn't she do the things that she's complaining about? All of these things that she talked about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything, but she didn't do any of it. She could have done it 3.5 years ago. She could do it tonight by leaving the auditorium and going to Washington, D.C. and closing the border.
You know, I want to address a couple of things you've said, Lawrence. I think that I humbly disagree with a couple of things that you've said this morning. First, I would say this. Yes, it is going to take Donald Trump out on a debate stage to call out these inconsistencies. It will not be done in the press, and I know we agree on that. And it will be gotten away with from the stage of the Democratic National Convention. But earlier you said she didn't achieve a level of inspiration to match that of Barack or Michelle Obama. I don't think that's her bar. I actually think that speech last night did the job for Kamala. It doesn't mean I think it should have done the job. I think that she told lies that we're highlighting this morning. The question is, what does a casual observer who might have been sitting out, who didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, and saw the obvious decline in Joe Biden, think after last night? And I think she came out and she told a story about her own life that was appealing enough that it's going to take some real fact check to push back on. My point is, her bar wasn't Obama, it was Biden. And if she in any way inspired someone who was going, you know, that guy's senile, that guy shouldn't be holding office, if she anyway cleared the Biden bar, I think she did the job last night of increasing the chances for the Democratic Party.
I think, too, that, oh, go ahead, Lawrence.
No. I was just going to say real quickly, Ainsley, but does it get people to the polls, though? I think it's not just about speeches. It's about the most inspirational person that rallies voters. And I think that's one thing to Obama's credit that he had. It was, it's not just, you're not in an auditorium or giving some lecture for some average day speech. It has to be inspirational enough where people say, because right now, let's face it, there's a lot of people that are independents that are saying, screw it, maybe I just stay at home. I won't vote for any of the parties. Those are the people that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have to go after us. Donald Trump at least has the burden of, at least things were better under him. And so my life depends on it. So I have to go vote for him with those independent voters. I'm not sure her speech met the message of inspiration to say, okay, I can disregard my economic state and go vote for Kamala Harris. I guess that's what I was alluding to. Go ahead.
She's running on vibes and running on joy. Does that translate into votes? It might. Some people might have watched this and said, I'm invigorated. I like what she stands for, even though we don't really know, but I like her speech and I believe her when she spreads these lies because I don't like Trump. But then when you look at her website and there's no policy on there, go to KamalaHarris.com. There's nothing about her policy, what she stands for. 0 sit-down interviews since she became the nominee. It's been a month. Primaries won. No one has voted for her to have this position so far. The first vote will be on November 5th. She's won 0 primaries in 2020. She won zero primaries in 2020. She dropped out. She was the first one to drop out that December. And then the next November was the election. So we watched her on the debate stage. People have said she doesn't prepare. Remember the interview when they're like, why aren't you going to the border? And she said, you've never been to the border. Well, I've never been to Europe. Her answer was, she wasn't prepared for that. And her staff has complained that she's not working hard. She's not prepared. I think what's going to happen is when they have this first debate, she's going to be so prepared. She has a whole team that's surrounding her that hates Donald Trump so much and they want to win so badly that she's going to be prepared at that debate. Is that going to carry her into the election? If she becomes the president, then that's when you're going to see her start to fail, but they won't care. And that's when she'll have to do interviews and she won't be prepared, but they will not care because at that point she would have already won. Republicans are hoping that doesn't happen. They're hoping that Donald Trump wins on his record. Compare his record to her record. We know what her record is. 0 fracking. If you live in Pennsylvania, that's a problem. Open borders, that's a problem for every single state. We're not going to make them illegals. This is not a crime for them to cross our border. Sanctuary cities, high taxes, her corporate tax rate from 21 to 28%. Raise the top income tax rate at the federal level from 37% to 39.6%. This is going to hurt companies. Highest tax bracket are people who own these big corporations and companies and hire a bunch of people.
Right. Meanwhile, Peter Doocy found his way into the bowels of the United Center and found the vice president and her husband, Doug Emhoff, right before she got on stage. Listen.
Madam Vice President.
Hi.
Congratulations. Are you ready for your Fox News interview? Good to see you, man.
I'm working.
So, I mean, they knew each other for when she was senator. So that was nice of her to give those few words. But she did promise.
You think she'll do it? You think she'll do a Fox News interview?
Well, I don't think it'll be a first, and I don't think it'll be ever. The more I think about it, but she said she'll do an interview
the
before
more I think about it in those 30 seconds.
Right, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But she says she's going to do an interview before the end of the month, so that's next week.
It'll be friendly, and I'm a little bit surprised they'll do it. Look, the thing that I'm voicing to you, Lawrence, and that I think Ainsley built upon is I'm afraid there are a lot of people out there that will vote on joy and vibes, and they should not. And they will even vote against their own interest. Mm-hmm. They will vote against inflation hurting their own pocketbook. And it is inexplicable, and they leaned into it. And you can lean into it from a stage. You can't lean into it in an interview. You can't lean into it during a debate. And you actually can't lean into it when you're interacting one-on-one with voters.
I'm going to risk losing Ainsley, but you hope there's nothing better, I heard, than going to a pep rally before a Notre Dame football game. The whole crowd goes crazy. The whole school is there.
And then you play
alumni's
the game.
there. And they got to go out, put the eye black on, and they got to play.
Yeah.
The game starts today.
Right.
The vibes were great. But once the gloves come off, small
You did not lose me. I know what that means.
Thanks. See,
I grew
Lawrence?
up in college
That's
football.
all I have to do. I had to make eye contact and explain it slowly. So that's when the game starts today, guys.
Actually, after Labor Day. People say after Labor Day. The Northeast is not even back in school. People are taking their last vacations of the summer right now.
Right. I think you're generalizing.
Lawrence.
I think there's a lot of people working next week.
I think after Labor Day.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.